What's up guys, this is Cory and welcome to CNA Films and Animation. Today is Tuesday and welcome to this week's episode of TV Series Tuesday. This week I am reviewing Community Season 3. I'm just going to start off by saying that I'm going to get a little spoilerish in this video, so if you haven't seen Season 3 of Community, go ahead and watch the video. I'll have like a little annotation saying, when there's spoiler talk and stuff, so that way you guys can like mute the volume or something. But, I do have a few things to say, so if you don't want to know anything about the season, go ahead and stop the video. But if you want to hear a little bit about it, but don't want to hear the spoilers, I will have a clear marking of the spoilers and let you know in advance before I say spoilers. So, let's get into the review. So, Community Season 3 was a very interesting season. It was a much darker season than I had anticipated, and that does not mean that it was a bad season. A lot of things happened throughout the season that were both funny. The show is still very funny, but at the same time, it was not entirely what I thought it might be. So the show starts off, there's a really cool and funny musical number that happened in the first scene of the first episode. And, it was really neat. It turned out to be a dream sequence from Joel McHale's character, Jeff. And, it was a very good episode. I really enjoyed that. It had a cameo from John Goodman, who shows up like 3 or 4 times in the season, and he's very good. This was also one of the shorter seasons of the series, going at about 22 episodes, I think it was. And, it kind of feels like it's starting to be somewhat like Arrested Development, in the sense that each season is just getting less and less. And with Season 4, I think it might even be less than 22 episodes. Not entirely sure. Could be more, could be less, could be about the same, who knows. But, yeah. Let me get a little into different things that I liked about the show, different things I didn't like about the season. I wanted to say that I really enjoyed a lot of the situations that went on in this season. There were less big episodes and more character-driven episodes. Here's probably a minor spoiler, so, until you see the word spoiler disappear, go ahead and mute it for a brief moment, just in case you don't want to hear it. So, in this season, starts off, Annie moves in with Abed and Troy, and Annie is not entirely sure how it's going to go. She really likes Abed and Troy, but then again, she doesn't like some of the antics that they get into. They build her a blanket fort and everything, and it kind of makes her worried about the entire thing. But, the end of the season, or the end of the episode, it really turns around, and, it's like a very happy moment for everyone. But, as it gets on, you learn about Abed and Troy's Dreamatorium, which is actually rather neat. It's just basically an empty room that has a bunch of, tape on it or something, and they use their imagination. There's an episode entirely directed toward that, and it's a good episode. Let me get into some of the episodes that I felt were really good in this season. Remedial Chaos Theory was a very neat episode. I really liked where it went on a lot of different levels, and it overall was just a neat episode. Studies in Modern Movement was another neat episode. This episode was one that had that minor spoiler that I mentioned earlier, and it's very funny. It has a lot of heart to it, and I really like that for it. Regional Holiday Music was the Christmas episode for this season, and again, it was very good. I think that their strongest episodes I think the strongest episodes of Community are the Christmas episodes and stuff like that. It was a very good Christmas episode. I really liked it. Basic Lupin Urology was a very interesting episode. It was kind of a spin on Law and Order. I really liked where they went with it. It was very funny, very creative, and just another great episode. Curriculum Unavailable was an interesting episode as well. It dives into a major spoiler. I'm not going to say it right this second. I will say it a little bit later. But you kind of get into kind of the mind of the group and everything, and it's rather neat. And the final episode that I thought was really cool was Digital Estate Planning, which was basically a giant video game episode using 2-bit or 8-bit or something like that. It's something similar to like Super Mario Brothers. I mean, it was really neat how they did it. So I'm going to get into another big spoiler that I want to talk about. So, and again, if you don't want to hear major spoilers, wait till after the word spoiler disappears. So yeah, this season had a much darker turn to it, especially when Starburns was supposedly killed by the meth lab in the back of his truck, or the back of his car. The death of Starburns was kind of funny, but at the same time, it was rather dark. So I mean, it really was unexpected and rather sad until obviously the finale of the season, when Starburns apparently faked his death, which I thought was rather interesting. But I'm glad that he technically didn't die, but at the same time, it was one that I was like, I'm glad it wasn't as dark as I thought it might go, but at the same time, it still was pretty dark. Especially after Shane kidnaps the dean and replaces him with a fake dean and suspends the group when they have to go into group therapy and all that. I mean, it really turned for a dark twist near the end, but overall, I really liked it. Overall, I really liked the season. I think season 2 might be my favorite, just with overall jokes and everything, but this is still not a bad season to watch. If you guys haven't seen it, I recommend that you check it out. I'm going to give season 3 of Community an 8.8 out of 10. So tell me, guys, have you seen Community season 3? If you have, what'd you think of it? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Share your thoughts on the entire season. Love to hear your feedback. If you like this video, be sure to like, favorite, subscribe. Be sure to follow us on Twitter and Facebook. I'm Corey, and I'll see you guys in the next one.